is Tarika and I'm the author of this book, The Asthma Cure, and we will be sharing information about which whole grains are good for our lungs. So let's begin with what exactly are whole grains. Whole grains are the whole grain food which is grown from earth and comes from the farmer to our table, right? Now this is the whole grain which is not tampered by man, which is not polished off, which is not ground, no chemicals added, no additives added. It's the actual whole grain. Whole grains have the energy of healing. Why? Because it is the seed as well as the fruit of the plant. So it's the seed which you sow into the ground and it gives back 1,000 grains back, and it is also the fruit that you eat. For example, brown rice or wheat, right? One kernel of brown rice or wheat is what you sow to create 1,000 kernels of brown rice and wheat. Similarly, we also eat the brown rice and wheat, cook it in our kitchens and eat it on our plate. So it is the seed and the fruit. It has an entire cycle, life cycle, which is very rejuvenating for our cells and tissues and our entire body and being. Like I said, when we sow brown rice or any whole grain, it gives back 1,000 grains to us. Whereas when we sow something like bread or pasta or roti or anything that's been ground and is no longer in its whole position, in its whole condition, it doesn't give back that much, because that's not going to give you back fossil, that's not going to give you back the whole grain. Where it's the same effect as it has in the ground that it has in our body, earth and our body, right? It's the same effect that it has in our body. So it rejuvenates and it replenishes our cells, our tissues, our organs, our blood, everything. It just creates health. Wherever there is stagnation happening, wherever there are toxins held in the body, it rejuvenates us in a way to push out and detox. So you know how people talk about let's go on a detox diet and let's do this and let's do that. The very basic and important thing about a detox diet is we simply need to include whole grains in our diet and remove things that are overly processed from our diet, because things that are processed and chemicals have been added are no longer food. That's no longer food. That's just a food product. And so let's talk about the grains that are very, very healing for our lungs. So when a person has a problem with the lungs, basically there is excess phlegm production in the body, and so we want to have foods that pull out the excess mucus in the lungs in the body. Also, a person suffering from problems with the lungs have a certain kind of weakness happening in the lungs. They're just very fragile and weak, and so to help improve from that fragility and weakness, we also need grains that create structure and strength. And structure and strength comes from fiber in our food. So the fiber in the food becomes the structure in the whole grain, which is fiber, helps build our structure and strength. Not like you have it one day and you'll have structure and strength in your body, but I'm talking about over the months, over the years, over the decade, when you have more whole grains, that's what begins to happen deep within. Your energy changes. And so the grain that's associated with lung health, even according to natural, a transformation theory, is brown rice. So having brown rice on a regular basis and having the creamier millets, the lighter colored millets which are creamy, not ragi and bajra are also great, but having the lighter millets helps a lot. And also having buckwheat in smaller quantity, but definitely including it into our diet. And a certain amount of barley, because barley is also known to pull out mucus from our body. It pushes out old fat from animal protein, old fat from dairy. Barley has a tendency to push that out of the body. So to include that into your diet here and there as well, maybe like a few times a week. So different kinds of rice along with a little bit of black rice, creamier colored millets, having more barley and a little bit of kuttu in your diet. These are the 4 grains which will really help rejuvenate your lungs, give them strength, as well as help to pull out the excess mucus, which when builds over a period of time creates more blockages. So we also have wheat. Just like brown rice is known as the king of grains, wheat is known as the queen of grains, and it has its healing properties. Even though many people feel wheat is not good for them, and yes, if your digestion is sensitive, we want to have the better quality wheat, but wheat does nourish certain organs. And my grandmom used to say wheat gives you, like, aate se to taakat aati hai. So that's, it's something that's giving strength to the body as well. However, the frequency of how often you would have it can again be according to nutritional guidance that you get from somebody, but definitely not to omit wheat completely from the diet. So that's about whole grains and the healing whole grains for our lungs.